Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Please like and subscribe if you love it over here at Miss T Joy's channel. Today, we are going to be talking about the reality TV series on Netflix, Love is Blind. As you know, it came out. They decided to release episodes. So the first week it was episodes 1 through 4, and then the next week it's episode 5, 6, and 7. And then next week it will be 8, 9, and 10. And then the week after that, I think it'll be episode 11, which is the reunion. So let's jump right into it, shall we? So we start out with 30 contestants, okay? We have 15 women, 15 men that enter the pods, all with hopes of trying to see if they can make a match, if they can find someone, and if they can fall in love, all within 10 days. Because we know that's the allotted time that they spend in the pod. So let's start out. Let's see who we have. First, we have Ashley. I'm going to show you some pictures so you can see exactly what Miss Ashley looks like. We have Ashley here. And Ashley is 29 and she's a chiropractor. Okay. Then we have Devontae, who is 29. See right here. Devontae is a fitness coach. Then we have Jess right here. And Jess is an event planner. Cole, who is 27, Mr. Cole here. And he's a realtor. We have Lauren, who's 36. And we have Lauren is a medical device rep. We have Simmer, who is 27. He's a director of marketing. I'm showing you everyone who entered the pods. We have Kim, who's 30. She's a teacher and a coach. Okay. We have Matt, who is 28. He's a private charter sales exec. Good old Matt. We have Julian, who is 34. He's a managing director of operations. That's what we have. So then we also have Bartiz, who is 27. What do we think about Bartiz? He's a senior analyst. We have Colleen. She is a ballet dancer by trade. She has been training with ballet, but she's also a digital PR strategist. She is 26. Yes. We have Andrew, who is 30, director of operations. Chelsea, who's 27. She's a customer success manager. Very interesting job title, customer success manager. We have Dale, cybersecurity. He's 32. We have Amanda, 31, who is a stylist. We have Brennan, who's 32. He's a water treatment engineer. Zenab, who is 32. She is also a realtor. 32? Zenab. I like that name. It's very unique. I like unique names. Then we have Alexa, who's an insurance agency owner. She's 27. Dakota, who's 29, an aerospace engineer. Valerie, who's 35, she's a dermatologist. Sir K, who is SK, 34, and he's a data engineer. Sharita, 35, she's a makeup artist. Anthony, 33, he's an attorney. He looks like an attorney, right? Nancy, 32, real estate investor. And Nancy is also a speech pathologist. She does both. But it just has up here that she is a real estate investor. She's 32. Nash, 34. He's a realtor. Kalikia, 31. She's an ICU nurse practitioner. Zach, 29. He's a med student and interior quality control manager. And so those are all the people for season 3. Okay, let's get right into it. So, it opens up, everyone's like coming in, they're meeting everyone. And then Nick, Lachey, and Vanessa come into the room and they welcome everyone to the show of Love is Blind. So they tell them, what everything's about. They hope they find love. They want to see if it's truly blind. You won't see what the other person looks like, but you'll get to know them, ask them questions, and all of that stuff. And then they say the pods are open, which means you can start going into the pods and talking to people and getting to know them. So we start out by them opening the pods, and then we have um, Raven. Okay, we have Raven and Bartice talking. We also have Nancy talking with Bartice. Um, we have a lot because it starts out with Bartice is talking to a lot of people. So when Nancy is talking to Bartice, she reveals in college that she was an egg donor, and she asked him, how does he feel about that? He's okay with it. Um, they talk about that. And then she finds out that he is only 25. So she's like, wait a minute, 25. Um, he seems a little more mature than 25, but that's kind of startling to her because she's like 25. I know how I was at 25. I'm ready to be married and all of that stuff. And, at 25, I don't know that I was like that. So, she kind of is hesitant about that because he's so young, but she realizes that they have a connection. So, um, they talk about like her saying, I hope you don't have a problem that I used to be an egg donor. I signed a release so that when they're 18, if they want to contact me, they can. He says, no, I don't have a problem with that. She's relieved by that. They continue to talk. She's troubled by him being 25. She's a little doubtful about it, but she says that she's going to continue to talk to him. We have Raven telling Bartiz that she's in the service industry, and he is like, what does that mean? Uh, he's kind of like, what am I supposed to do with that information? And he doesn't know exactly what she means, but it ends up meaning that she does sometimes bartending and sometimes she's a bottle girl. You know how when you go to the club and you're in the VIP section and they have the bottle girls come out with the streamers and the bottles and they pour it for you. And so he's like, "Oh no, I don't have a problem with that." But he had a worried look on his face for a while, so he didn't know what that was about. We have on we that's kind of all we have. Then we go to day 2, right, in the pod. So day 2, it starts out where it's kind of workout day. The men are working out on their side, the women are working out on their side. And we discovered that Raven and Nancy both like Bartice. And we realized that Raven doesn't really care for Nancy um, because she feels like Nancy doesn't really tell who her number one is. She kind of listens to everybody else discuss who they like the most, but she doesn't reveal the name of her number one. But she talks about him like she'll be like, "Oh, my number one does this, my number one does that," but she won't reveal the name of the number one. And so Raven doesn't like that. So she's talking to the other girls about it. She kind of doesn't like that. So we have Alexa and Brennan who are spending some time talking to each other. And they both talk about family and they express how important family is to both of them. And, you know, she tells him, you know, she's so close, even to her stepsister who is young, who's like 4. She loves her. They're very close. She's close to all her siblings and her family. He says he is too. He says family's really good. Um he wants to be close to his family. She tells him, I want my in-laws to like me. Brennan reveals that his parents are divorced. You know, her parents are divorced as well. And he says that he had a rough childhood. Um, you know, he kind of shares some, just says that, you know, everything was not smooth sailing with him when he was growing up, but he wants that to be different in the future for his family. So, and he reveals to her that he really likes her. So then we have Nancy and Andrew talking. And Andrew tells Nancy how he has traveled the world. Let me pull up the picture so you can. Okay, so remember I said Nancy is the one who's a speech pathologist and she is a real estate investor. That's Nancy. See Nancy, okay? And let's find Andrew's picture. Uh, let's see. This is Andrew. Okay. So Andrew tells her that he has traveled the world. He's come face to face with leopards. He slept around, you know, near leopards and near giraffes, and he's just traveled all of these places, and he has all of these stories, and she's listening and she's taking it all in. And I think that maybe she believes it, but I don't know that I believe it. I'm looking at him like with a big eye, like, do I really believe that all of this is going on? I don't know, but that's what he's saying. So he also talks to her about sexual pleasure and men having orgasms without ejaculating, and that he takes pride in providing sexual pleasure, and she's taking it all. I mean, she is eating it up. She is taking it all in over there in her pie, like, whoo, whoo, like, is this man, he's world travel and he can do all of this? And she's thinking to herself, wow, because he's older, he's 30, versus who she also likes, who is Bartiz, who's 25, who's younger than her. So she keeps thinking about those things. So she's having that in the back of her mind, but she's really taking it in, and she's saying she's hot and bothered. She's over there fanning everything, right? So then we move to Colleen and Brennan. Now Colleen is the one who is the trained ballet dancer, and now she's like a PR strategist as well. And then Brennan is the water treatment specialist, and he's the one that was talking to Alexa and telling her, you know, kind of about his childhood, and he says how he likes her. So now he's talking, and him and Colleen are talking. She thinks that he could be her person. He tells her, you know, I enjoy talking to you, but I think I found my person, and I'm going to move forward on that front with my person, you know, because he feels like Alexa is his person. And he has felt that very early on, although Colleen was thinking that he was her person. So he's like, no, I appreciate you telling me that, but I'm not your person. I feel like I found my person, and that's somebody else. He doesn't tell her who, but he just says, I want to move forward in that direction. She's a little taken aback and a little hurt by it, but I think she understands. But nobody likes to be rejected. But she takes it good on the chin, you know, a little teary eye, you know. But you know, he has to live in his truth and move forward with it. So Brennan then tells Alexa he's in love with her, and she tells him she loves him too. and they're gonna move forward from there. And so then Colleen, because she has now been rejected by Brennan, so she has to set her sights on someone else. So now she has set her sights on Cole. Now Cole is the 27-year-old who is a realtor. So she is like, I'm gonna focus on him. He, however, is talking to her, but he's also talking to this woman named Zena, who is a realtor as well. And they talk about family. They talk about their love of God and their faith. And she tells him about losing her parents. That both of her parents are deceased, and so um, she's from England, and she has a sister who is 8 years older than her, who I believe still lives in England, and that she lost her dad at 13. Um, and so she talks about all the troubles that she has been going through. So I appreciate her being vulnerable with him. He appreciates her being vulnerable with him. And they talk about, that their faith has sustained them. Yes, Luna, Colleen is giving me pick me vibes. Yes, very much so. She wants to be picked. Okay. That's very important to her that she be picked by somebody. So she's like, hey, I got rejected by Brendan. I have to move on to somebody else. So now let me choose Cole to latch on to. So I want to be picked by him. So next we go back to Brendan and Alexa. He tells her he loves everything about her. He proposes to her and she says yes. This is our first engagement in the pod. Brennan and Alexa. Okay, let's see. Let me refresh your memories about Brennan and Alexa. This is Brennan. He is 32. Like I said, a water treatment specialist. And then we have Alexa, who is 3 years younger than him, and she owns her own insurance agency. She's 27.
From Slumpy.com. Ha Ji-won created her own agency after her contract with the current
Hold on.
agency.
Alexa, stop. She heard her name and she just came on. I apologize. So we have them two. They're our first engagement of the pod. And I think they're really cute together. So that is how episode 1 ends. I wish they told us how long they were dating before the proposal. How long are these couples in the pods? Well, the couples are in the pods for 10 days. That's the whole time of the process, for 10 days. But you're right. I wish they would have told us on what day did he propose to her, because we see that they are the first engaged couple that they show us, but were they really the first people to be engaged, or is that just how you edited it and showed us? That's a very good point. I don't know, but I do believe that in discussing things, people did say that Brendan was very sure early on about Alexa and that he focused on her. So we do know that it had to be before that he focused on her before Colleen got engaged, because she was still trying to concentrate on him and she was trying to concentrate on Cole. So I do feel like he probably did make his decision first, but we just don't know on what day he proposed to her. So, but 10 days is the length of time that they are in the pods. And then after that, they go off to Malibu to go to the resort and spend time with each other before moving in. So, um, all right. So episode 2, we see where Alexa and Brennan meet. Now this is episode 2 to us, but we don't know how many days it's been. But they do meet face to face. She before they meet, anybody has trepidation because you're like, I have met this person through the pods and we have an emotional connection, but I think I'm beautiful, but what if I'm not their type? What if he doesn't like curvy women? Because she's like, look, I have curves. I'm not going to apologize about that. And so she does have a little bit of concern. He is he doesn't have any concern. He's like, I'm just gonna love her. Like I'm in love with her. So I don't care what she look like. I mean, that's just how he feels. That's my person. So when he sees her, he just thinks she's so beautiful, and they hug and they kiss. He gets down on one knee, and he gives her the ring, and he declares, to her that he's ready to get married and he's serious about that. And then he gives her the ring. So we move into Colleen and Matt. Colleen and Matt are talking. And he motivates her. He tells her she's a cutie, she's perfect, and that she deserves happiness. And this makes her happy because she was kind of feeling defeated because she felt like, oh, I liked Brennan, he rejected me. I kind of like Cole, and I could tell that Cole is between me and somebody else, and so I don't really know how that's gonna go. So she was feeling kind of defeated, and so he comes in and swoops in. We move back to Nancy and Andrew. So he goes on again and talks about his travels, honey, because that's what he does. He talks about his travels all over the world, and every place that he's been, every activity that he's done, and and she just eats it up. So we move on to Bartice and Raven. So he Raven and Bartice are in there. Um he tells her he's falling for, oh, I know what it is. Okay. So before we go to them, we see Bartice talking to Matt in the guys lounge. And he tells him, I'm falling for two women. And the two women are Nancy and Raven, and they're very different. And so he's like, but I'm falling for both of them for different reasons. And Matt is just like, well, you just gotta follow your heart and see where it takes you. No advice whatsoever. So when we get back to Bartice and Raven, he confides in Raven about a traumatic event of his parents, and he how they were on vacation, and that his mother was telling him the story, and then that the man came. I mean, it was just a whole thing that he felt was the start of the demise of his parents relationship, and it was a traumatic event to him. And as he is talking to her, spilling his guts out, she is over there doing jumping jacks and working out, and he is disturbed. He was like, "Are you doing jumping jacks right now?" And she was like, "Oh, you can hear that?" I don't mean to laugh because it was a traumatic event, but she was very clueless to the fact that he was bothered by it. She was just like, "Oh, you can hear that?" Like it was nothing. So, um, he says, "I think I chose the wrong girl to open up to tell that information. I think I chose the wrong one." So now he is really starting to think to himself, "I should focus on Nancy because this woman is working out while I'm talking to her." So we then see Raven and SK talking. He tells Raven about his polygamous family, and she is like, she's over there in the other part, like, I hope he doesn't think that I'm not doing, she's like with her mouth open, but she doesn't say anything. She listens to him, and he says, at the end, he says, but I don't want that. I want to be with one woman and have one wife. And, I want to be different from that. So he says he doesn't want that. And then she's like, ooh, ooh, she's like a moment of relief. She listens intently, and he tells her that her patience means a lot to him. She thanks him, and she cries when he tells her that. And um, and he says, one day I hope that you'll want to get to know more about me, and that will be a privilege. And he tells her, I think you're very intentional. And she says that she appreciates that because a lot of people don't see that part of her heart. And she cries, and she really thanks him for telling her that. That means a lot to her. So next, we move to the pod of Zenith and Cole. Um, he tells her he loves everything that comes out of her mouth. He really likes her being able. He imagines being able to travel with her, He then confides in her that he has been married before and divorced. They dated for 2.5 months and they were married for 4.5 months. Um, and she said that she understood, when you're young and you think you're in love and you get married, and she's not holding that against him. She prayed for him last night, and he asked her to be his girlfriend. And he tells her, I think I'm falling in love with you. And she says, I think I'm falling in love with you too. And so we're like, ooh, we see that moving forward. That came out of nowhere. So then we go back to Colleen and Matt. And Matt tells Colleen that he has been married and divorced before. He married his high school sweetheart. They got married at 19 and they divorced when he was 24. So they were married for like 5 years. He says that she cheated and got pregnant by another man. And he said that that really kind of broke him. And so he was closed off for a while, but now he's opening up, after more than, that being a long time ago, he's now opened up, to being ready to love again and get married again. He wants that and have kids. Yes, Cole's behavior gives me a golden retriever puppy. Oh, kind of too much for me. Yes, he is. Yes, he does give off those kind of vibes where he's a lot and he can be great, but you really have to groom and train him. And listen, I'm not trying to talk about him as though he is an animal and he is a dog, but I'm just saying that he gives off those vibes where it could be a good fit, but you're going to have a lot of patience, and you're really going to have to take the time to communicate to him how to love you, how to be with you, what you expect, what you will and won't tolerate. And you're going to have to get him to that point and put a lot of time and effort into that. And that if he does take to what pick up what you're putting down, and is willing to go along with it, then he is someone who could be molded into that what you want, and then it could be good. But you're gonna have to put a lot of time and effort, and it's gonna take a lot of energy to get there. So I totally understand what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Um, so then we go to Bartice and Raven. She comes in, and I thought this was she took it well, because he said it was kind of like a joke, but I took it as kind of like a dig. I didn't like it. So she walks in the room, she comes in, and there's money all over the floor. Okay? And I felt like when it's money all over the floor, what do you the first thing you think of? You think of like strippers. So I felt like he was kind of trying to treat her or insinuate that she had been a stripper, because remember she had told him she was in the service industry, but then she told him it was a bottle service girl and a bartender. I just didn't like that. He said it was a joke and she took it good, but I was insulted by it. So, anyways, and then there's food. Um, she and he both think it's funny. I don't think it is. He wants to share his heart with her. He asks her if she is doing jumping jacks, and she says, "No, I'm just eating the chips and sauce." And I guess he was doing that because it's like, last time I was trying to tell you a traumatic event, you were over there doing jumping jacks, but she's like, "No, this time I'm not. I'm just eating chips." And so I felt like that was a jab. Um, and he says, he tells her that he wants to share thoughts with her and he wants to share a piece of his heart with her. She is oblivious to the fact that he's taking jabs at her. She doesn't see she doesn't see the money on the floor as a jab. She doesn't see, oh, him saying, "Are you doing jumping jacks?" She doesn't get that he's doing these subtle jabs. She really doesn't see it. She's not irritated at anything or anything by it. She's like laughing, like, "Ah ha ha ha." Let's see. I was insulted too and felt Secondhand embarrassment for her. I would have walked out. Joke wasn't cute. Exactly. But she just took it on the chin and she was just kind of, I really felt like she was oblivious to what was, going on. Um he he goes on to explain that it's really hard for him to say this, but he feels like, someone else has his heart. She told him she feels the same way. So he thought he was gonna really have to let her down, right? He came in with the intent, I'm gonna take some jabs, but I'm gonna have some food for her, and I'm gonna tell her I want to share my heart with her, but I'm gonna let her down real easy, because she might take it real hard. And he was not expecting for her to be like, I feel the same way. He was over there looking like, what does she mean she feels the same way? So, um, she kind of, I think, in that instant hurt his pride. So she's like, yeah, I feel the same way. We're not right for each other, and it's okay. So then we move on, and we're back at the guys' lounge, and it's Andrew, Bartiz, SK, Matt, and they talk about proposing. And Bartiz says that he was going to propose. He was writing down what he was going to say in a proposal, but he was writing it down for a different girl, and now he's changed his mind, and he knows that he now wants Nancy. And SK is over there looking like, huh, I hope he won't talk about Raven. And so Andrew looks at him when he says Nancy, like, because I'm trying to propose to her. And so you have him, you have SK looking at him because he was like, oh, but I changed my mind about that girl. So SK, his eyebrow goes up, and then he says, because now I know I really want Nancy. And now Andrew's eyebrow. So you got two of those guys looking at him like, huh. So then we get to Bartiz and Nancy in the room. He has sushi dinner, roses in the room, no money. He don't have no money. See, it was because it was a jab at Raven. He has this a whole different setup. He has sushi dinner, roses in her room. He tells her when with Raven he was thinking about her. And see, I don't like those little things like that you have to put someone else down in order to lift someone else up. All you had to do was tell her, I've been thinking about you constantly every day. No matter who I'm talking to in the pod, I'm always thinking about you. That's all he had to say. But he's already creating by that, like I said, you're having to put someone else down to lift someone up. And now you're already creating a conflict between Raven and Nancy. That was already kind of there, but you're continuing to press the issue so that now they're going to continue to have a problem with each other. And so I don't like that either. So she tells him thank you for being honest. He tells her he thinks he's fallen in love with her. Um, but I can't really say it because I'm still kind of torn um, between two people and I haven't made up my mind. Um, okay, yeah, no, Nancy is telling him that. So he's told Nancy how he feels about her. She says that she can't say it because she's still torn between two people and she hasn't made her mind up. She's trying to work through everything, but she appreciates his honesty. So she goes to the pod and she talks to the women about her choices, about how she is torn between two guys. And she starts asking them about asking the different women in the pod, how would you feel about dating someone who was younger than you? Or how would you feel about dealing with somebody who you felt was more well traveled than you, or someone who had the money and the financial means but didn't have this? And so she starts asking them hypotheticals to try to kind of get engage where they would be or how they see things without coming out to say, who her choices are and what her dilemma is. And so she's trying to work that out between herself with the girls. So sadly, Nancy fell into the slight manipulation because since then she seems to have something against Raven, and Raven has not even been faced. Exactly. That's what I mean. He created that. She fell into it because she already thought that they were competing for his attention. And so she then fell right, like you said, that slight manipulation fell right into it. And ever since then, she has felt some type of way about Raven, and Raven does not even know. Raven is oblivious to a lot, a lot of things. People taking jabs and feeling certain types of way about her, and she does not even know. She just be over there like ha 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 and la la land, not even aware. Okay, so exactly, and that plays out as we get further and further along in the process. You are so right, Luna. So we get to Nancy and Andrew. They talk more in the pods, just sharing everyday life and just how they feel and their beliefs. And she tells us that she's leaning more towards him. We then see Raven and SK. She opens up to him. She tells him um, that she can get to love him in her own way. She just needs him to be patient. He tells her he wouldn't want it any other way and that he can be patient. He's on her time. She likes that. And I would like that too. As a woman, I like that. A man who says, take your time and I'm on your time and I'm willing to go at your pace. I appreciate that. That's a gentleman. We get to Cole and Zenith. He proposes to her. She says yes, and she's so excited. He is more excited. He's over there like hopping up in the air, and looked like he was about to do a split and everything. He is just very giddy. He has a very childlike excitement and quality about him, and that can be exciting. But when you're older and you already, as a woman, feel like sometimes it takes men longer to mature, anyways. So if you have somebody that's a little younger than you, so you're like they're chronologically 27, but really he acting like he's 24, and I'm already 29. I mean, it's just a lot going on. So more power to her. She feels like that's her person, and he proposed, and she said yes. So then we get to Matt and Colleen. She tells Matt that she's scared. He's going to reject her. He tells her he's ready to be serious. He's not going to reject her. He's ready for this, even though no matter what he's been through in the past, he's now ready to be in a serious relationship, ready to fall in love, ready to get married, ready to have kids. He tells her he's fallen in love with her, and she says that she loves him too. Okay, so next we get to the next day. We get to Raven and SK. He tells her to come close to the screen. He gets down on one knee. He proposes to her. And it is a long pause. And I'm very concerned because I was like, saying you can learn to love someone. Are you really ready to put in the work to allow them the opportunity to win your heart over? I was concerned. I didn't know what she was going to say, but she says yes. Then we get to Cole and Zenith. And now we're at their meetup because he's already proposed and she said yes. So now we're at their meetup. She's kind of concerned, as any, like I said, whenever they're about to do the meetup and these people are saying their concerns that they have about when the other person sees them, I think that is very normal to have concerns because even if you think, I mean, some people just are like not concerned at all. They're so super confident or whatever. But even if you think the average person, even if you think you're a beautiful woman or a handsome man, you say to yourself, I could not be this person's type though. It doesn't take away from my beauty, but some people have a type and I could not be their type. So you get a little concerned about that before you meet. And she was having a little concern. And so they do meet though. He thinks that she's gorgeous. He likes that she has bigger boobs. That's what he concentrated on. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. That's what he said. He likes that she has bigger boobs than he expected. He gives her the ring. She tells him that she loves all of him. She's pleased with every bit of him. She has no complaints. She loves all of him. So then we get back in and we're at Nancy and Andrew. They come in, they talk just briefly, and then he starts declaring how he feels for her. And then he proposes to her, and she's paused, and that ends episode 2. We pick up on episode 3. And we are waiting for her answer, and her answer finally comes, and it is a no. And he is stuck on shocked. Okay. Um, she turns him down, and he is just. I mean, I think he just can't believe it. I mean, I think he knew that Bartiz liked her and they had a connection, but in his mind, he had made it so that it didn't matter what their connection was. He was gonna propose first, or or I don't know if he proposed first, but he felt like he was gonna propose and she was gonna say yes. And so when she didn't, that was a big shock for him. So then he's in his little confessional part and he's talking about it and he starts to put eye drops in his eyes to fake cry. He asks, "Are we rolling?" And he puts eye drops in his eyes to fake cry. And I think to myself, is this real? Like, is he doing this as a joke? Like, because he said, "Are we rolling?" And the people said yes. So you already knew they were rolling. So why would you put it in your eyes then? I mean, because we see. I was very confused. I'm like, is he just terrible, or does he think they're gonna cut that out, or he was like, "Let me. We're about to roll, so let me do it real quick." I I don't know, but either way, it was terrible. I was just like, what type of person are you, sir? I'm like, she dodged the bullet there with him. Mm-mm-mm. So then we go to Nancy and Bartiz, and they're talking, and she comes in, and he proposes to her, tells her how how much he cares about her, and all of that stuff, and that he would be honored if she would marry him, and he proposes, and then she says yes. Oh, Luna B says yes. What was them tears all about? He gonna say it's something else like allergies. Gray is terrible. So terrible. So terrible. I just was like, get him off the screen. He wants a moment. Let's not give it to him. So okay, so we have them. He has proposed and Nancy has said yes. So she has thought to herself, it doesn't matter about his age. We have a connection. We have a bond. This is who I want to be with. So she has said yes to the younger man versus the older man. So then we go to SK and Raven. Their reveal. They both are nervous but happy with each other after they see each other. He is very pleased and she's happy too. And they hug and they kiss. And it's cute. It's cute. So I'm like, okay. So then we go back to Matt and Colleen. He says her whole name, Colleen Bridget. And for some reason, I didn't get her last name. Colleen Bridget, whatever her last name is, I love you. Will you marry me? And she says, "Yes, I will, Matt." And she's all happy and crying, and he's happy. And I'm like, finally, because I was starting to feel for her because she had been rejected twice. So I was like, finally, she has someone. But I thought to myself, is this connection solid, or is it just that she wants to be picked? Like you said, Luna, she has a pick me, and she just wants to be picked and have a husband, you know? So yes, that's what I was thinking. So I don't know. We'll see. Um, Nancy and Bartiz, we go to their reveal. They both are very happy with each other. She is like, "Oh, look at this tall, fat man right here." Um, she loves her ring. He gives her the ring, and she loves the ring. That is a nice ring. That is a nice ring now. So she loves her ring, and they're very happy. Um, we then get to the Matt and Colleen reveal, and they both are pleased with each other and how they look, so they're happy. So um, everybody has been revealed. The 10 days are up. Now it's time to go to Malibu. So they go to a Malibu resort, and all the couples have their little cottage suite, but they all it seems like they all like share like a pool. The resort is like a pool area they all share and stuff like that. So right now the couples are just kind of by themselves and getting to know each other and getting settled in, and then we'll see later that they'll get together. So we pan to Matt and Colleen. They're getting along so well. He loves kissing her. There's a lot of sexual energy. It's so strong. He's happy. She's happy. Ooh, kisses, butterflies. We see Alexa and Brennan very happy together. They seem the most settled to me. They seem like the most settled couple. And they're comfortable. They're having a picnic, talking to each other, very, very happy. We see Cole and Zenab. They're in the hot tub. She told him that she wears a mouse guard when she goes to sleep and she might snore. But he can, hopefully he can learn to live with that. He tries to change the subject as though he doesn't want to talk about her snoring and he doesn't want to talk about, the things that she's talking about. Um, he says that he is physically attracted to her, um, but he wonders if it will last. So I don't know. Or is it that I wonder if it's going to last? Oh, I think those were my critiques. I wonder if it's going to last. But he does tell her he's physically attracted to her. Then we go to Bartice and Nancy. She has on a future Mrs. bathing suit, a one piece, honey. She was ready. They go soak in the tub together and talk. They're very attracted to each other. They kiss, make out, and they just have a nice old time. Then we move to Raven and SK. She's very relaxed with him emotionally, but physically she's just not there. But he is willing to be patient and he likes their slow pace. He tells her, I like our slow pace. I don't mind it at all. I'm willing to go at your speed. So they're going, they're taking it slow. And you know what? It's nothing like a slow. Sometimes you need a slow burn. It's nothing wrong with a slow burn. Everything doesn't have to be quick and fast. Things can just take their time and be slow. So that's what it was. It was a slow burn. So um, they then we get back to Colleen and Matt. Okay, they're in the bathroom. They're brushing their teeth. They're like, let's get ready for bed. And then they make out with each other a little bit and get ready for bed. So now we're in the next morning. Cole and Zenab, they're having a rough morning. She feels like they had sex last night. She wanted to just be held in the morning, but he just rolled out of bed and didn't talk to her for 4 hours. So she doesn't know where his head is at. She's like, I woke up, I just want to be held. We had sex last night. And instead, he just got out of bed and he didn't even talk to me. And I think this is just a little bit of getting adjusted to each other, right? So you don't know if your partner is really a morning person. Do they need their coffee? Do they not like to talk when they first get up? You want to be held. You have to communicate that to him. So I think this is part of, I don't think this is Cole really being weird. I think he just is used to doing things how he does them and he doesn't really know what she likes. So he's just, functioning how he does every day. So I wanted to give him and her both some grace there. Um, he tells her, I didn't know, I don't want you to think that. I didn't know that's what you needed. I got out of the bed because I felt like I wanted to let you sleep. I didn't know if you were ready to get up. I was just trying to be considerate. And so it's just kind of a miscommunication. He tells her that they're compatible physically. He had a nice time. And so, they just decide to move on. Next, we get to Colleen and Matt. They said they had a lot of fun last night. Honey, we had a time last night. Okay, they said they had a lot of fun and that they're happy with each other and they're in complete bliss and they're just laughing. And I'm happy. You have to take the highs because you never know when the lows are coming. So I'm happy as I'm seeing all of these couples, kind of get used to each other. We see Nancy and Bartice. They're in their robes. They said that they consummated their engagement. And she said that he said that she complimented him and said that their sex was excelente. And she says that he is a cuddler. So she liked that after they had sex, he cuddled with her. So she was happy about that. We then move on to Alexa and Brennan. Um, they are kissing. They're so into
Sorry,
each
I'm not sure.
other. She says he snores, but it's cute. He says she's naturally gorgeous. They both reveal that they get Botox. So they both reveal that they get Botox, which is interesting. What do you think? If anybody's out there listening and watching, how would you feel as a woman if you reveal to your partner you get Botox and they say, "Yeah, I do too"? Would you find that to be strange, or would you be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense"? Um, so they order some breakfast. It arrives. They have pancakes and fruit, and then they start to eat. We then move on to SK and Raven. She's trying to teach him some Pilates. She's bossing him around because he's not doing it right. And she was like, he's really interested in it. And they're talking about how they stayed up all late last night talking for a long time, for hours. They're in the bathroom and they say they're looking forward to going to the cocktail party later. And they say that it doesn't feel like an experiment anymore. Now they're really starting to get to know each other and it's starting to feel natural. So Zenup and Cole, they're playing games. They're being competitive. They have cornhole, chess, and they have ping pong table. Um, they're trying to see who can win at each of these games, and she's kind of winning. She's kind of winning at almost all of them, and I don't think he's taking it so well. But they talk about getting married in 4 weeks and being passive aggressive, and then being open and honest with each other. Um, Let me see. Luna says, I didn't think it was weird because he has low. Point well taken. Point well taken. That is very true. That's very true. Luna's my kind of girl, y'all. So, um, we then go to Colleen and Matt, who they're on the beach. They're having lunch. They're talking about, now that they've seen each other, if they were out and about, would they still approach each other? He tells her he would approach her at a bar. He thinks she's cute. They cheers to getting married in 30 days and her being Mrs. Bolter. Is it Bolter or Bolton? Mrs. Bolton. And so they're happy about that. They're both excited and looking forward to being married in 30 days. But again, I say to you, is Colleen excited about being married to Matt in 30 days, or is it that she just wants to be married? Because, like Luna says, is she just a pick me person? So then we get to Raven and SK. They're having a sound bath. He falls asleep and she's irritated by it because he is snoring, honey. Um, but he wakes up when it's over. They have lunch. She tells him they need more razzle dazzle. They need to uh they need to be more of a cupcake, and right now they're a muffin. And she tells him that she needs him to be more high energy and to make more of an effort. And he says that he will. Then we move over to Alexa and Brennan. They're having lunch. They're talking about being in each other's family, how they fit in, what it will take, and that they're committed to being together and making it work no matter what. Now we about to move into the cocktail party, honey. And this is where the messy drama happens, but I'm here for it. Okay, so Bartice, Nancy, Alexa, Brennan, Met, Colleen, Zenab Cole, Raven, and SK all arrive at the cocktail party. They all hug, greet each other. And honey, then we get to the confessionals. And who do you think is the first one talking about what the other women's looks? It is Bartice, okay? And he says, "Ooh, Raven is a smoke show. She is gorgeous. She is who I would go for. I see why we connected. I see why we connected. Yes, that is my type physically. That is my type. Although Nancy is my type emotionally, physically she is my type. Oh yeah, he just talks about how good she looks. Okay, so then we have Nick and Vanessa. They come in, they talk, they welcome everyone, and then they introduce everyone to each other's exes. So they're like, they introduce all the women, all the men. So then we have Matt and Colleen, Alexa and Brenna are talking about double dating, staying in each other's lives, their kids playing sports together. Matt says that Brennan is a genius. And Alexa said, I know, he chose me. She asked him if he's lucky, and he says, yes, I am. I'm very lucky. And I thought that was cute that he felt lucky to be with her. We have Bartiz, Cole, and SK. They're talking about having to adjust to the person that they're with. So you have the person that you love versus the person who you may be physically attracted to. And they're talking about how the person that you love, you fell in love with in the pod, not looking like the image that they had in mind. Bartiz says that he had no image, but Cole says that he did. He still loves Zenab, but now he has to adjust because Zenab is passive aggressive and she's not like the image he had in mind. Okay, Zenab tells Colleen that she is trying to connect to the person who was in the pod, who she's now with in real life. Um, the guys find out that SK and Raven have not been intimate, or neither have they touched a lot, because um, everyone else has consummated their relationship, and the two of them have not. They're the only couple that has not. So the guys are like, "Ooh, okay." Um, Bartiz thinks if it was him, because he's very conceited. Okay, he thinks if it was him, then they would have already been intimate. He says, you know, if it was me, because I'm her type. I just think that's the reason. Raven is telling the girls that they haven't been intimate. Alexa's not. Um, I have to try. She's not with that. She doesn't believe in waiting, because she's like, she has to try all the flavors, okay, in the ice cream shop before she decides which one is her favorite. Okay, and I get it. So SK and Raven hug and check in with each other to make sure they're having a good time and they're having fun while at the cocktail party. Matt reveals that he has a fear that Colleen is playing him. So we'll see that he already has that in his mind. So anything that she does that will feed into that, we'll see how that affects him and causes their relationship to get off track as we go. Nancy is off eating chicken sandwiches, bacon wrapped scallops. Nancy is like, I'm hungry and I gotta eat. Y'all other people can just drink and talk and act like y'all not hungry, but I'm hungry and I'm gonna be over here eating. Okay. So she's all by herself eating it, and then Bartiz is taking shots with Raven, looking her up and down, honey. He is looking her, I mean, because he thinks she is gorgeous. He is looking her up and down. Luna says, yeah, she's kind of passive aggressive. It might be a sign of someone that has not cohabitated much. Yes, very much so. They did her wrong for showing her smell. Not only did they show her smelling it though, by the end of the night they were showing her eating it while he over there taking shots with Raven and looking her up and down like she the food. Okay. Nancy's actually eating a snack, and Bartiz is looking at Raven like she is the snack. Okay. So he says that in his confessional, he says their feelings still there for Raven and that he regrets not giving her another day and a half to work out his feelings. So now he feels like he acted too hastily with Raven and he regrets not taking that extra day and a half to work out their feelings. So basically this must mean that he proposed to Nancy on day 8 in the pod. So, we go to Bartiz and Nancy after the cocktail party is over and everyone has drank plenty of liquor because they were getting toasted. Okay, they go back to the room and they are buzzed. And they get in the bed with their clothes on. He takes her shoes off, and they discuss the couples at the cocktail party. And he says every couple except for Raven and SK. See how he is trying to separate them. Look like that they're doing good. He tells her what SK told the guys about them not being intimate, and he says this show, and he shows her, he like tells her, let's act out how far apart they were when they were sitting, and he moves far away from Nancy in the bed, and he's like, this is how far apart they were sitting. um he tells he tells her, oh, he tells Nancy that he cried about them in the pod, because he was so torn over the both of them. And then he said that he and Raven are both good looking. And I mean, he had the audacity. And I'm going to tell you, that is what runs at an all time high. I don't care if it's inflation or what, child. What always runs at an all time high is the audacity of people. And he had the audacity to sit up in that room, in that bed with her, and tell her, Raven and I look good together on paper, and people would expect for us to be together. Um, and he says that people would come to them, but don't worry, he picked her. And then asked, was she okay with him being that open and honest with her? She says yes, but in the confessional, she was not happy about it. So again, we have another person who is telling their partner everything's okay, but then they're telling us in the confessional, and we see that they're not happy about it. So now, um, everyone wakes up, and Colleen and Matt go on a yacht date. Zenab and Cole, they have a beach lunch date with surf lessons. They're talking about second thoughts after seeing all the people in person. He says Colleen is physically his type, but that Zenab is his personality type, and but his physical type doesn't look like her. And I just think she's already someone who has self-esteem issues, and that hurt her to her core. She tries to take it on the chin and be a good sport about it, but I think that really hurt her to the core. And I just feel like some of these things they didn't have to say. I mean, even if they felt that way, did they have to say it out loud? I felt for her in that moment. I really did. I felt for her. Colleen and Matt, they are happy and cheersing on the yacht. They discuss exes from the pod. He said that the only person he also had a connection with at first was Alexa, but him and Alexa became best friends. So, he's fine. And she says that Brennan and Cole both shut her down, but she's glad because she only wants to be with him, and that's who she's supposed to be with. Um, Brennan and Alexa talk about them moving in together. He's a little nervous. Um, she's not nervous, and they just talk about how they're going to mesh their lives together. Bartiz and Nancy, they have a pizza and wine date. They discuss Raven being his top person, and how they're very different. And he feels that Raven is a negative. Oh, no. Nancy feels that Raven is a negative person, and that she doesn't understand how the both of them how he likes the both of them. So that's kind of where we are. And then we're going to move into episode 5, but we will do a different live for episode 5, 6, and 7 because I don't want this to be too long. But I thank you all for being here on the live with me and communicating with me and telling me what you think. So down in the comments, tell me so far who what couples do you think have the best chance of saying yes when it comes to their wedding day? Okay. I will talk to y'all soon when I come back for the other episodes. Talk to you later. Bye.